What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Unleashed Potential Podcast. I'm your host, as always, alongside the boys, Mr. Elmi, Mr. Hassan. And we got Gled today instead of Jabbar. How you doing, Gled?
Alhamdulillah, all is well, brother.
Good to have you here.
Good to have you guys too.
I like the fact that Gled's always there to
fill
in for one of us. Jabbar, as our viewers and all of us may know, is on holiday. I envy him. Me being a travel addict, I especially when somebody goes on holiday and they snap you everything purposely because you didn't make it to the trip. Yeah. It's not fair, but we'll talk about it.
For me, I envy his option to have the time off at this time.
Yeah.
Not so much the destination he's going.
No,
I've already been there, so I'm not.
Well, I haven't been there, so
fast,
both it's a time and a destination for me. So it's like a double whammy. But alhamdulillah, man, how you boys been? How's your week been since we last met up?
Good. How you been, man?
I've been good, brother. What did I do? Same old, same old work. Yeah, just the heat.
It has been a bit warm lately.
I enjoy this heat, man. I'm used
Today,
to it.
for one, has been really warm.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind it. I hate the humid, but dry heat, absolutely, bro. It's amazing. I just need a beard to cover me. What
about you guys? How's your week been?
Alhamdulillah, bro. It's been
I know you've taken some time off, which is something we haven't heard in a long time. Elmi's been off for about a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've got a few things to do, so
this guy would not take time off for his own funeral. He went.
Mashallah, man. So you've been enjoying a bit of the time off, relax.
Yeah, taking it easy. It's good. I'm like, you need it, bro.
Yeah, recharge. Yeah,
you need to recharge, bro.
Definitely,
Mashallah, definitely.
Last week was a short week.
Yeah,
4 days.
4 days
instead of 5 because we had the public holiday on Monday.
True.
So it was good. I don't know, it just felt like a really quick transition to the weekend again. So
true.
So it was a lot more.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, last weekend was a long weekend. Yeah.
I think after Easter there's gonna be a long period, spell where there's no public holidays for us
for a while.
Right?
Until September, which is Queen's birthday. Yeah.
So you see, towards the end of the year up until now, there's a few that come in quick succession, and then it's a bit of a drought throughout.
It's like they just get rid of them quickly,
Which is alright, because in that period of time you can plan trips or whatnot, and you get a few long weekends where you can plan road trips and whatnot.
It's February, man. I don't know. It's gone by so quick.
Voila.
It's February now. That's it.
For me, January's been so long.
Nah, man.
I was talking to a workmate.
It's gone so quick, bro.
It's been long for me. Me and him were just talking about it. And it's just like, it's been.
It's crazy
this January's been long.
It's crazy how you have the perception of time and how it changes throughout your life.
Yeah.
I remember I was actually having a conversation with someone. They were saying that time, right now it feels like time is just flying by real quick. Like you'll blink and it'll feel like it's the end of the year. Then I thought about it and I said, well, not necessarily. I think it's because now in our adult years, we're sort of governed by time to the point where we rely on it so much, we focus on it so much. That's why it always feels like it's passing by so quickly. You're always
trying to quantify it.
Exactly. Whereas if you're a child and you're in your school holidays, for example, man, 2 weeks is going to feel like a long time. Whereas you get a holiday for 2 weeks, it feels like it was just a weekend. Yeah. It's simply because one, you're governed by time, and the other one, you're not so much. That's why.
Now, 2 weeks.
It's just your perception.
2 weeks for us now. The first couple of days, you're trying to recharge and recover from, whatever you're doing beforehand, and then the last couple of days of the 2 weeks, you're trying to prepare yourself for what's coming. So you literally have a week-ish in the middle. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's pretty crazy. But I'm glad you brought up that point, because today's topic is about our teenage years. We've all been through our teenage years, youngsters. Alhamdulillah, now we're in our mid to late-ish 30s. 20s, not 30s.
Speak for yourself.
No. Well, we're all in mid 20s to mid to late 20s. Which is also a very, very scary fact, not scary, but it's just again, where has time gone? For me, I've got after this year, inshallah, 3 years to 30, and I'm just big 30 already. That's crazy.
You're still young, bro.
I know, but still, again, you're not young, but you're not old either. You know what I mean? In both senses, it works.
You ask an old person, and by old, I'd say someone that's over 60, for example, you ask them what they think about someone who's 30 years old.
He's a baby.
Yeah, he's a baby, still young. Still got many years ahead of him.
Yeah.
You ask a teenager,
What, 30?
think
Their
30
life is
years
done.
old. Yeah, it's like, what? That guy's
Pretty much gone.
finished.
One foot in the grave already.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so today I wanted us to pretty much just dive in a bit into our teenage years, some of our experiences, what we as now, looking back, might find as lessons, some struggles that we may have gone through, that turned out to be lessons, some things that you thought were gonna work out, gonna be happy, that you were looking forward to, that was actually, the fact that it didn't work out was a blessing in disguise. That's what I wanted to dive in today. So who wants to start off by giving us a picture of their teenage years? I guess there we go. Describe what teenage Guled was, or like how he was.
That teenage bracket is so long, though.
Whoa,
You're looking from
take
13
whichever
to
bracket.
18.
No,
That's-
When you say teenage, do you say what, like from that 15, 14
for you up to
to say 19, early 20s? What is your teenage? What do you mean by
you tell me.
Within that 6 period.
within that 6 year
So
gap.
from 13 to 19, basically.
Oh,
That's what defines a teenager, right?
Yeah.
Within that period.
Yeah, but everyone sees it differently. But yeah, okay, well, if I take it from that period, well, it was Guled who didn't really give a crap about life, bro, you know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to live every moment, you know? Even the mistakes I did, for me, it wasn't mistakes, bro. I didn't see it as mistakes. I remember my parents being, you know, really telling me what to do, and it would go in one ear and it would go out the other ear, you know? But you don't realize it until like now, you know, that, wow, maybe I should have listened to at least one. But they say, you know, like the Somalis or our parents say, you'd rather be mischief while you're young or get into trouble than when you hit your late 20s and adult, you know, because at least you're young, you know, no one's going to question you.
You can
recover, you can grow out of it. So yeah, no, I did. I mean, I was very,
troublesome.
Not in public, but not in public. You know, in public I was, you know, respectful. You know, I always stood by my walked beside my parents.
That's normal for most teenagers to be in that mindset where it's like I can do no wrong sort of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's different to the teenagers now. You compare yourself to the teenagers right now. You're probably a good person back then, compared to the teenagers right now, like living, because parents are like less strict to the young. You know, I look at my younger brothers and stuff, and I'm like to my dad, you weren't like that to me. It comes down to we probably were, you know, the oldest child or whatever, so they were trialing, you know, testing it. It was, you know, they realized, okay, we'll take what worked for you with them, and what didn't work, we'll leave it, you know. So it was very memorable. Once I start speaking about it with my dad right now, I'd be like, you know, like, if my son did that to what I was doing, probably I would lose the plot, you know. And I didn't really, you know, I would go out. Okay, so I'd go out with my mates, and sometimes the one things I used to do wrong was I would sleep over at mates' place without telling my parents. And you know, like you have kids, and they'll for them, like 9 p.m. coming back is really late. So sometimes for me, I was like, you know what, I'll do it. I'll get the beating tomorrow, but I'll have fun tonight.
Live in the moment.
Live in the moment, you know. You know. So I was like, I kind of regret it, obviously, but it's a learning curve, you know. It's a learning curve. You know, interesting moments.
Interesting, mashallah.
Yeah, those boring moments too, you know, like Haji probably, you know, going with your dad to Duxies when your other mates are out there across the road playing football or soccer, you know, and we're just looking at like this, like, me and Haji look, you know, what's going on? What
about this side of the table?
Man, like, just thinking about my childhood years, teenage years, I would say when it comes to my education, I was very consistent with it, simply because I had that support structure. Like my dad was very strict in the sense that, man, if it was raining, if it was, you know, sunny, storm, doesn't matter what it is, right? You're going to school. If you're sick, it's not a question. right? Like it's confirmed you're still going to school.
Yeah.
Unless you're vomiting and physically, or unless my mom steps in.
Yeah.
You know. Otherwise, if my dad's home and he hasn't left yet, and a lot of the times he wouldn't leave to work until we've actually gone out the door and started walking. And going to school was walking. It's not.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
This is back in NZ?
yeah, back in NZ.
So school's close to your house, or?
Well, it's
Close-ish.
about, I'd say about 15-20 minute walk.
Wow.
So you know that which is okay if you've got. I had my brother, you know, and so we'd always walk to school together, and then along the way we have a couple of mates, so we just pick them up.
So it feels
So it
quicker,
made it a lot more enjoyable, and you're not alone in the sense that even if you didn't have mates, you'll see other people that are from your school within your neighborhood,
All walking towards
all
school.
walking towards school. So it wasn't that bad. And then sort of like towards my late teen years, some of my mates started having cars and stuff, so it was a lot easier to sort of travel to work and stuff, and to school. That's education side. I think Dean wise, I don't know, like I remember in my teenage years, we started Duxio, you know, Quran class with my granddad, and we started it in a garage. And at first it was just our close family members, like cousins and brothers. That's it.
Yeah.
Slowly started expanding and getting bigger and so on. And then every weekend it became very consistent to that. And then now, alhamdulillah, it's still going, you know, and they've got extended to other nationalities as well. And it's all free, you know, and so
of course.
so that was good. Man, like, how can I sum it up? It's so crazy because like 6 years, you know, for a teenager is a lot of time.
A lot.
Even me, when I look back now, I'm looking at like 6 years of my life and I'm like, I could have done so much. I mean, I know for us, it was the first time coming to a Western country. We were some of the first generation to actually come there, you know. We're talking when I was 6 years old, like back in 1995, we arrived in New Zealand. So that was very, very old school, you know. So we didn't have a lot of Muslim friends, and we had a few Ethiopians here and there, so that made it a little bit easier. But my teenage years, man, it was just school, work. That was the other thing as well. Like my dad, straight away, whenever we had summer holidays, he'd get us into some of the seasonal pickings and stuff like that. So you'd go out into the farm. You know, the farms and stuff.
Wow.
Every single summer holiday,
hard work.
every time, would either pick fruit or pick vegetables. That's it. Every single season. From 15 onwards, I think it was. And legally, you're supposed to work from 16, you know. But the employer at the time, he was like, I know you. And if you want to let your son work, then that's fine. You know, I'll give him a little bit on the side until he's legally allowed to work, you know. And then when we were legally allowed to work, then it became like, okay, now I'm earning a decent amount of money. It got to a point where I was like 17 years old or 18, I think it was. I saved enough to, you know, not just help out around the house, but actually buy my own car as well. So, and just that feeling of working hard and then buying your own car, you're like, yo, this is mine. Nobody can take it from me. I bought it through my own blood, sweat and tears, you know?
It's amazing feeling.
And to this day, I still remember it, you know, and the joy that it brought about. And then, obviously I started uni, graduated from high school and everything, started uni, and that in itself was an experience, you know. The first 2 years, 18, 19 years old, I don't know, it was like a big life-changing experience because from our family, my older brother was the only person that sort of went to uni. And he was there a year or 2 years ahead of me. Okay. So when I got there, they were like, okay, now it's becoming a generational thing. Now it's not just a one-off thing, you know? So just to re-cement that confidence back into our family. You. Well, to an extent, I mean, if you look at it right now, looking back, if I had the information that I have now and the life that I lived before, I think there's a few decisions that I would have made differently, you know, and I think that's a lot with everybody, you know. But it comes with the fact that you don't understand. It comes with the fact that you think that you know everything. But, you know, you learn to live and you find out and you experience different things. And I don't know, to sum it up, my teenage years was okay. It was pretty good. It wasn't wild, and it wasn't boring.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah.
You know,
No, much
like it was decent.
standard.
Yeah.
That's good. Elms,
Yeah.
you've been quiet for a bit.
I've been listening to these lovely stories been hearing from the brothers, man, you know. My teenage years pretty much average, man.
Yeah.
Obviously went to school, you know.
Well, you went to different school than us.
Yeah, I missed out. Obviously,
didn't
primary
go to AIC with us.
school, I
Same,
went to
I
AIC,
only-
and
I was
then
only
after I
high
went to
school, high school, yeah.
different school.
I was only
It was a big experience, but I remember when obviously you go to like a different school which is non-Muslim. Oh man, obviously a Muslim school, the girls are covered and all that. You go to a non-Muslim school, you're like, oh wait,
Same.
what's going on here?
What's going on here?
Hey,
Because I left AIC in 10 too.
yeah,
Yeah, nice, sorry.
yeah, high school years were good, man. Like when it comes to education, my parents were also very strict. I did okay, but I didn't really care about education, man. Everything was just sports, bro.
Yeah.
I was very sport orientated in my teenage years. Like a lot of sports around. I remember I used to, alhamdulillah, I had like, you know, good upbringing and all that. I used to go every night. I'd do something. Either was it boxing, if it's not boxing, football, it's not football. Soccer, it's not soccer, it's cricket. There's always something I was doing, like, alhamdulillah, which kept me busy. And also, as well, madrasa. I remember the good thing, I used to catch up with my Muslim mates, like, after school. Just go to madrasa, you know?
MashaAllah.
So, like, 2-3 times a week. So, alright, man. Well, just education, not so good. Sports, very focused. Quran and Deen, 50-50. I didn't really give much effort into it. Pretty much, you just run amok, man, at madrasa, you know?
Yeah.
But the thing about my teenage years, I remember, is my parents were strict, man. Education and everything, bro. I don't have a phone till I was like, I think year 11 or something like that. Yeah, I don't have a phone. I wasn't allowed.
Year
to have
11.
a phone,
What
yeah.
is that? 16? 17?
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I remember-
16, yeah?
16.
I don't have a phone.
Same.
No iPod, no nothing, man. So it's like,
wow.
yeah. But they were very strict, but also, you know me, I like my cars, man. I remember when I finished school, bro, all throughout high school, once you get to year 11, I think it is, also, all my mates started getting the license, started getting cars and this and that. I couldn't get it, man, because my mother was very strict, you know, because she knew I was crazy about cars. This guy's gonna go nuts, man.
That's a good thing,
But
man.
that's still doing
You know
stuff
what I
for
mean?
you from what I know.
Obviously, once I finished high school, then she let me go for my learners. She's like, wait a second. Let me see your grades when you finish high school. Then we're going to decide whether you get learners. You know what I mean?
And no, Elmi, he made sure that he replaced all the 2 years of high school that he missed out on driving.
Alhamdulillah, yeah. And then after that, pretty much, as soon as I finished high school, I remember the week I finished high school, a couple of weeks later, I got a job. That was my first job.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, I remember, you know what my first job was? KFC, bro.
Hey, I worked at
done fast food.
I worked at they call it Hell's Pizza, but it was a pizza joint.
But hold up, bro.
What about you? Have you done fast food?
Nah.
My man.
Nah.
It's the best job,
haven't
bro.
done fast food.
You know what?
Actually,
Nah, don't let me down now.
I'll tell you what. When I was summer holidays.
Yeah.
I remember year 10, summer holidays, going into year 11. I went and worked at a kebab shop in Canivale.
Oh, there you
So
go.
there's an Arab guy. But then the problem was...
It counts.
I worked 3 days.
It doesn't matter, it counts.
3 days.
And then you quit?
No. The brother told me, I'm paying you only $10 or something.
And you said,
And
no.
And I told my dad, I was alright, you know, young guy, $10 is
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, accept it, right?
You know,
Because
like
where else
an
you
hour,
gonna get
$10
to
an hour,
That's like,
alright.
no way.
My dad's like, what did he say? $10. Let's go. So he goes, because usually what I used to do is take the bus to go there. He goes, next day you go, I'm going to drive you there. I'll talk to him. He goes, brother, how much you pay my son? $10. $10. Let's go.
He's going to confirm for himself.
If you don't give him, what's $10, bro? He's Australian. This is a lot, man.
Well, you know the first thing I remember at KFC? It was at KFC in Wally, you know, near Galleria?
Yeah.
That's where the area is. Bro, I got fired from that job. Why? Because I kept on calling in sick, bro. I was employed for 1 month. I think the first or second week I called in sick.
Yeah.
Because I was so tired from training, bro.
Yeah.
Because I used to play sports,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So I was
yeah.
tired from training.
So you just call
I
it
was
sick.
But the good thing is I was a good worker.
Yeah.
When I used to go work there, I was one of the hardest workers.
Yeah.
Bro, the lady paid me a whole month after I quit. I didn't accumulate any sick leave.
Yeah.
I didn't accumulate any annual leave. And she paid my whole month. Do you know why, bro? Because I was such honest work. I never used to steal from the till. There's so many dodgy people, bro. They used to steal from the till.
Wow.
Yeah.
They used to take free food. Like at the end of the shift,
thing with
bro,
fast food.
sometimes you can throw it out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you take it home with you. Obviously, it wasn't halal, so I never used to take anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes few of the drinks, bro. People used to steal so much, man. It was ridiculous.
Really?
And she caught everyone. And she didn't catch me. She's like, you know what? For your honesty, I'm gonna pay you for a whole month. I said, thank you very much.
Yeah.
The next day, I found another job anyway. So.
For me, it's crazy
reason
because,
why-
like, you know, when you say this, how your boss pretty much trusts you.
Yeah.
I remember my one as well, like at the pizza joint when one day I called in sick and it was on a Monday, right? Or I think
Was that the busiest day?
it was a Sunday. Sunday is usually a busy day.
Yeah.
You know, especially for pizzas
Yeah.
because people
Yeah.
are at home,
People
whatever.
are lazy.
Lazy, you know. Sunday was usually busy. So I called in sick on that day and it was the morning that I called in sick. I was there for the morning shift,
Yeah.
right? Which is all the more important because, you know, you have to do the prep work and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, so I called in sick and the next day I came in and, you know, my boss, she goes, are you all right? Are you feeling better? And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm feeling a little better. And she goes, you know, every time you call in sick, I believe you. And I said, why is that? And she said, because I know you don't drink. And therefore, I know you don't have a big night out, you know, and get hammered and then call in sick because you're hungover or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, actually, that
Wow.
you know,
It's crazy.
that
These
helps.
little things you don't realize. Yeah.
You don't realize, you know, but very important, man.
Very important.
Bro.
I'm the only person that I know out of all my friends that hasn't done fast food.
Bro.
All my high school friends.
Mine doesn't really
everybody.
count. It's
Yours
true.
counts 3 days,
You know
more
what,
than one
bro,
day.
you know when
Counts.
people used to come to the drive-thru? I remember they put me in training. I was in 1 month there, so it takes a while to obviously learn things. I was so, bro, I didn't care about the job. I just wanted a job so I could make some sort of money. Wallah, al-azim, bro. People used to, yeah, can I get this, that? Yep. I press on the thing. I don't know what I'm pressing, bro. Wallah, bro. I
Just
don't
give
know
them
what
more
I'm
than they
pressing.
paid for.
Majority of the time when they put me on the tools,
Complaints?
complaints. I ordered this this burger, this man of chicken, I didn't get it. I said, really? Yeah, it's there.
Like, he's surprised that.
Because my shift is only 4 hours majority of the time, bro.
So you just enjoy it.
So what was your first job then? I don't.
Me, it was car detailing. Up in Sweden.
Sweden, no?
This company had they had a contract with these
That was the first time you worked in Sweden.
Yeah, like I was 16. That's my first
Oh,
ever job.
true.
And yeah, they had this contract with this sports car dealership.
Yeah.
So we'd be detailing Ferraris and Lambos straight off the trucks. We'd be peeling off the plastic. Once we're done, I'd get a ride with the boss to deliver it back. That was my first job.
Nice.
It was cracker.
Okay.
And ever since, I've just been building up on that. So alhamdulillah, I've never done fast food.
He hasn't seen rough, this guy.
Yeah.
You haven't seen
yeah,
a father?
yeah.
That's why I love the guys.
He hasn't seen rough.
They tell me like stay away from fast food. I don't like ever since I've worked in fast food. Like,
But you know,
a lot
I'll
of
tell you
people tell me-
something, man. Seriously, if you're working hard for your money to the point where you can actually feel the burn or the ache or the sweat, and you know, then you'll find out the real value of the you know, $1.
Yeah.
Because you look at these youngsters now who haven't had a job, you know, and not all of them obviously, but there's definitely like a high portion now who haven't had a stable job. Leeching off their parents, you know, every single week, every single day.
I've experienced that
Bro,
firsthand.
I'll tell you something very basic, right? Lunch money.
Yeah.
That was a concept that did not exist for me
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, same.
Bruv,
Yeah, same.
to get lunch money,
Yeah.
that was a luxury.
Yeah, of course.
You had to earn it.
Yeah. Whereas
Like,
now
I'm
it's-
seeing kids that go to the tuck shop and I'm like, man, their parents must be really rich.
it's given now.
About the reason why I was working, it was not because my parents wanted me to work. I wanted to work. I found that work myself. You know?
Yeah.
My dad didn't even want me to work until I finished high school. Or like in my 20s. He goes, until you're under my roof,
Yeah.
you don't need to work.
Yeah. As long as you're under my roof.
Yeah. Why? You need anything? I'll give you.
Yeah. But
As
you
long as
just wanted to prove to yourself that you can get a
but
job.
you know, I hated that. I was like, you know, the amount of times, you know, I'd go past Foot Locker, and then I'd be like, Dad, is that? And he'd be like, yeah, let's go. I said, you sure? It's too much money, you know? Because he would, I'm like, you sure, Dad? You can pay, pay that $150 shoes? Yeah, so it's all right, man. You're my kid. I'll do anything for you.
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, Because the reason why I used to say that, because he was driving taxi, and then whatever money he spent that day, he'd be like, "Oh, tonight I have to make that money back."
Yeah. So it made you think.
Or yeah, it makes me think. So I used to say, "Bro, like I'm gonna
Make my dad work extra.
So why don't I just not make him spend at all, so that he works less hours, so he gets home quicker, so he doesn't spend a lot of hours on the road making up that money, you know? Because I was like, you know, and at that time he was paying off the house and stuff, but he had that. He didn't want me to work.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I'll give you what you need. Even at the point where at school, when I left AIC, I was going to it's not like a religious school, but it was a non-Muslim school. So you had Muslims, you had all types of different people, and so we would take the bus. And he would drop us at this train station at the bus stop. And if he doesn't have a job, if he's not busy, he'll drive us all the way to the school. On the way back, he'll be like, get the bus, but I'll call you guys where to get off, so that he gets close to us.
Yeah.
You know? He hated it. And I was like, come on, man. Sometimes I used to lie. I'd be like, you know, Dad, where are you? Oh, yeah, the bus is running late, you know, doing this. Just so that I can get the full bus ride. I was like, let me get the full bus ride all the way home.
Yeah. But you never saw the wisdom behind what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I never saw the wisdom, you know, but he always, you know, like lunch money, that he used to give us lunch money. He used to give us about $60 a week.
So you had a pretty good
per person.
$60 a week?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was about $50, $10 a day, you know?
So this guy
the day we got lunch money, it was $5.
Yeah.
That's the day we got lunch money. You get $5. Yeah. Granted, you know, there was 4 of us in the house, and then my sister, obviously, she slowly started school. But by then, we pretty much, you know, had our own jobs anyway. But there was 3 of us: my older brother, me, and my younger brother. You know, that were sort of similar ages. You know, 2 years apart.
Yeah.
So whenever we had lunch money, $15 is a huge hit. You know, to the pockets. Especially if you don't have like a crazy job, you know, that's earning and with all the expenses that are going on, you don't realize it though. You know, you just, and the thing is, let me ask you guys a question. When you ask for money, who do you go to? Do you go to your mom or to your dad?
Right.
You go to the dad?
Yeah,
mom.
Go to mom.
That's the same as me. Wallah, I give it up to the moms. Even if they had no money, they pull it out from somewhere.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll go to the mums. Go to the mums. You ask the mom. Oh, when you're asking for money. Yeah, definitely mom.
Yeah, I always go to my mom.
No question, she'll just pull it out.
Pull it out. Even though she doesn't have a job, even though she doesn't have any income.
I used to say that. I used to say, where is she getting the money from? Yeah. You know, I'm like...
But you don't think about it.
You don't think about it. And you don't realize how much of like a burden you are by asking.
Yeah. You know, on that one there where teenagers now don't value money. A year before I got married, I moved back in with dad and my sister. The rest of the family were back home in Somalia. So I would pay for the grocery shopping for that week, for the 2 weeks, whatever. I'd pay the grocery shopping, right? And I'm always complaining that things are finishing, things are running out. My sister's just cooking this and that, and like she's wasting this and wasting that, and like the meat that's supposed to last 3-4 days, she's cooking it all one day, and you know. And I would always complain. She's like, stop complaining, man. We just buy the food and we're cooking it anyway. I said, yeah, no worries. She got a job at the pharmacy, part-time to start off with.
Okay.
I said, listen, today you're buying the meat. I'll buy all the other groceries. Don't worry, the $150, $200.
Yeah.
You just pay the $50 for the meat. Yeah, no worries. We came home. Wallah, I kid you not. We came home. Now, normally, this girl never used to look at the fridge. I'd bring the food, I'd pack it away, I'd pack up the meat. You know, the meat, you cut it up and you pack it away and this.
Yeah.
Bro, that day, it's the first day that I stopped packing away the meat. This girl came, she said, all right, we're cooking this on Monday, we're cooking this on Tuesday. She made that $50 last the whole week.
She stretched it.
Yeah.
Stretched.
And I said, what's different? She said, I can't afford another $50. I said,
now she knows the value.
Now you know what's going on. You know?
Absolutely,
Now you know what's going on. I used to complain about the lights and everything. I said, listen, if you don't start turning off these lights, I'm gonna start charging you. Now you're an adult, you're over 18, you got a job. Me, you and dad are gonna split the bills 3 ways. Bro, that scared her crazy ways. She was saving money on the lights. The food was there, eating properly. Me, I don't have a problem. Food is one thing that I don't like to dispute with people. You know, eat whatever you want to eat. You know, alhamdulillah, Allah gave us the provisions.
Right,
eat what you want to eat. But when you want to waste things,
that's a different story.
and you're not paying for it, and then you have a go at me for saying something. All right, your day will come. You know.
You know what's the worst one, bro?
Yeah.
Obviously, when your family, you got your little sisters, whatever. There's a drink, you know, that nice mango drink. You know, it's in the Seen the whatever.
I know which one. The one that
whatever it is, bro.
mango or
tropical.
The tropical one.
I put it in the fridge. All right. Yep. I had a glass. I'll come back the next day.
Completely smashed.
Completely smashed. To the point where there's a little bit left and the whole box is inside there. That's when hell breaks loose in the house, man.
I just grabbed
Because what's the point of returning it when there's barely anything in there?
Just finish it up.
Finish it off, bro.
Don't give me hope.
You know, when you ask,
My dad used to hate
to earn up,
buying orange juices and stuff. Because like you get a 3-liter juice and it'll last a day in the house and it'll blow. What's the point? He goes from that day onwards.
Yeah.
No juices in the house, bro.
I wanted to ask you as a question. Now that, alhamdulillah, we talked a little bit about our teenage years. Compare that to the teenagers you see today. The way we were raised and the way kids are raised now, or like the level of strictness parents have today as opposed to what they had when we were growing up. It's really different, right?
It's different, but then you can't say that it's bad or worse or better, you know?
In what sense?
Well, their playing field is different.
Yeah.
Completely different. Like you look at us in our years, we never had social media. You know? The closest thing to social media, and that probably was in our late was MSN.
Facebook.
And that's
Later,
if you're lucky if you had a desktop.
remember Bieber?
Bieber, yeah.
Memories out here, boy.
MySpace.
And that's if you had a desktop computer, let alone a laptop or iPad or a
all
phone.
that stuff,
And internet was not unlimited right now on phones, you know.
Exactly.
Pretty pricey.
So the idea of making friends and establishing and nurturing that relationship with your friends, it took a lot of hard work and effort. Like you had to go to that person's house.
Yeah.
And to get there was either
get dropped off,
cycle, you know.
Cycle, you know. So when you were there, you tried to spend as much time as you could together.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times it would be actual spending time together.
Yeah.
Whereas now the kids, because they've got their phones, they get to view each other's lives remotely.
Yeah.
And when they're together,
they're together physically, but they're not together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're just
socially,
on their phones. That's the generation now when it comes to like the relationships, when it comes to the hard work. That's what I mean. Like it's completely different, right?
Yeah.
And you look at the work now, I don't know, like I don't think a lot of these teenagers are willing to actually do the hard work in order to earn a certain amount of money. Obviously, you know, the pay has increased.
Yeah.
You know, the minimum wage has increased. But you look at me, for example, when I was younger and I was doing these seasonal works, seasonal jobs, picking fruit and stuff, like for $6 an hour at 15 years old. Yeah. You try and get someone that's 15 years old, they say, nah, forget it.
Laugh you out of the room.
Delivering the paper. I used to do that. That's $150 a month.
Wow.
What?
You're delivering it 3 times. Yeah, a month. 3 times a week.
Damn.
New Zealand's
different. just to get money.
No, but still here it's peanuts.
Here, it's peanuts. Like what, 10 cents.
And you think it's just a matter of here? At least now they fold it for you and put it in. No, over there they drop it to you in like blocks.
Yeah.
So you got to do the whole folding. You got to get a bag, fill it up, you know, and you got to ride your bike around. And New Zealand is not flat; it's up,
down, workout.
It's a real workout, man.
Yeah.
So to stick with it and earn that money and so on, like I don't know if these kids now are actually made for it. Like they've got other opportunities. That's what I mean by it's a different playing field. They've got other opportunities, so they don't necessarily have to go towards that option.
Yeah.
Some of them can be like there's a lot of young kids that are YouTube stars and you know through the access of social media as well, you know. Man, like, and their schooling, the way they work now, previously like we had to write everything down. Yeah. There was no option of Googling whatever. We had to go to a library.
Calculator now.
Bro,
it does everything for you.
Yeah, that's it, you know. So
but
it's I wouldn't say it's tougher. But then, like, because it's tough, you get that added benefit of having appreciation for when it is easy. Yeah. Whereas them, it's easier, but then it might open up. They haven't seen the tough life, but it might open up other doors and other avenues. And
that's true.
And it might make it a lot more tougher in the sense that the test is a lot tougher. So they might not appreciate money better or the schooling better or because they've got these other luxuries. Yeah. That's how I see it. Like it's not better or worse. It's just different. Yeah. That's how I think it is.
do you feel it's the parents in the way they raised us up and how they're raising like the younger generations right now?
To an extent.
For example, I look at my younger brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, they eating, sleeping. All my parents want is just go out there, get a job, work. And when they work, sometimes it's not like pay the bills, put your fair share in the house, like how you and your sisters and family was doing. I feel like the parents are a bit too nice to the kids nowadays, like too soft, you know what I mean? Compared to what they were back then. Some parents,
But
because I think with the change of time, firstly, yes, there is a major shift in the playing field, right? But I think also I agree with you to a sense where, regardless of the strictness, right, there was a certain level of expectation and demand from us.
Yeah.
Right? Like, take out the whole strictness, going out, social media, no phone, all of this, right? But then there was still that expectation, like, yo, you have to do good in school. You have to do good with your Quran. You have to do good with this. And if you don't, then I'm not going to go and buy your PS4 game. Whereas now, kids can sweet talk their parents a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like, okay, look at it before then, yeah? Today, a kid will have an iPhone, a MacBook, and an iPad. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then when he wants the Dre Beats to go with all of this, but his grades are bad, he'll somehow still get it.
That's right.
Whereas back then, it was like, no, fix up your grades first, then I'll get it to you. You know what I mean?
I feel like the difference is...
Whereas now the demand is lessened a lot.
But then look, you have to think about it, right? Like, our parents were at a different age.
Yeah, true. That is a major factor.
When we were teenagers, our parents were at a different age.
Yeah.
They had that African mentality because they just arrived.
That's right. Yeah. So they were a lot stricter because they were a lot younger. And they were a lot more energy. That they had that stamina to be able to consistently over a long period of time say to us, this is what you need to do, and sort of herd us towards the right path. But now you've got the younger kids and they're in their, I don't know, like in their 60s, 70s. Obviously their priorities have shifted a little.
Yeah.
And so that overflows into the way they raise their children. But if you're looking at some of the parents like, Guled, for example, or me, if you're looking at us, the way we raised our children is not going to be the same way that our parents raised us.
Definitely.
No, true. But then does that mean you would lose that sense of demand and expectation of perfection in whatever it is from your child? Now, you would raise them differently, right?
Yeah.
But still, you wouldn't give in.
Expectations are still the same.
You would still maintain some sort of high expectations regardless of, you're not going to dictate to your child what she's going to do, right? But when she chooses what she wants to do, you would expect her to perform at a certain level before you give her all these privileges, right?
Yeah, so the outcome is still there. It's still the same.
Yep.
The approach is just going to be different.
Yeah.
To get to the outcome.
Yeah.
You understand?
And
I think that's what it is. And that's the same with the parents. When they were younger, their approach was a certain way.
Yeah.
Now that they've become a lot older, their approach is different. I know the approach that my parents took with me and my younger brothers is different to the way that, they've approached my younger siblings.
I feel like
siblings.
Another probably a factor why the parents are different to the youngsters right now is because they feel like if they are too strict, that young 18, 19-year-old
push them away.
Will push them away from home because easy access.
Yeah, true.
Works
true. In that sense, because influence, social media, and all this.
Like how you were getting work at a pizza joint or stuff. It's much more difficult then to get a job, a part-time job, than it is now. Now you can just apply for a job and get a good paid job, and can live out of home.
Yeah.
So that they see the easiness of how that child can leave home. So one way of them just showing love and giving what they want and trying to, make their room as comfortable as they,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
because
it's
of
the better approach to push them out. And
the timing is different to when we grew up. It's different times.
And I think they're more stricter than the boys and the girls. Like, I don't know if it's just me or they're more strict on boys than girls. You feel what I'm saying?
For what?
For as in teenagers. Because obviously boys can.
I don't know. I think it varies between different households.
You know what I mean?
But also, just to add to that, I think also there's the issue of like you guys are the oldest children.
Yeah.
So when you grow out of your teenage years and move into adulthood, your parents automatically, I would assume they would think that now they've got another adult in the house that's helping to look after this child.
Yeah, my dad would say you're the second to me.
Exactly. So if I don't have eyes on this person,
then you do.
I've got a 2IC that can help out. So their approach is a lot lenient. So they're very lenient when it comes to like the children.
True.
So it's just it's different, completely different playing field.
Different, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, for me, as soon as I turned 18, I moved out of home. So it was there was no 2IC in the house. It was just dad. Because when I was 18, I moved in with a mate.
Were you 18 then?
I was 18. I just came back from Europe and
Wow.
I moved out and I've lived out of home ever since. Until that year before I got married, then me and my dad essentially became housemates. and we were paying rent together, everything, splitting everything, and then
I've lived out of home.
Was that the house that I came in? Was that the house that we started this house?
So that year is essentially the first time me and dad like spent, I think, overnight together in 6 years or something like that. 6 years, 7 years.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
So like we were neighbors and everything. The kids would go to school and I'd see the family and I'd visit them and they would visit. Well, they wouldn't visit me because I was living with mates, but I'd visit them all the time and everything. But I moved out of home when I was 18, so it was really. And then that last year or 2 years, 18, 19, obviously there's a lot of freedom because no mom and dad keep an eye on when you're going in the house and when you leave the house. So it was much like Guled said, like you'd rather be restless in your early years and settle down than to start the whole restlessness in your later years and then just be too late to continue with anything. So alhamdulillah, it was a good shift for me. So alhamdulillah, I really appreciate that. Go on.
The things. Do you guys look back in life now and talk to your parents and be like,
Oh yeah, definitely.
I thank you for how you've been. But at that time, you're like, oh my, get out of my face.
Not only that,
so many moments, man.
So many moments like
where I told my dad,
by you, like you were young, you're like, for example, your dad's like, you're walking that 15-20 minute. No lunch money, make you get home from food. You'll probably be looking at that time, be like comparing other children from school to your lifestyle. But like now, you look at it and you're like, thank you.
There's so many moments where
I am where I am because of you guys.
Yeah, there's so many moments where I've actually said to my dad, I would, if that situation was to happen between me and my kid, I would react the exact same way.
Yeah, like
the course of action that you took was the right way. But in that moment, I'm just thinking, who sent this guy? Yeah. Honestly, that's how you
this
think.
guy.
Back when I was a teenager, I used to think and talk with my father, like to myself, as a stranger. Like to me, he was a stranger. It's like there's no way that he can be this harsh and this strict and still claim that he loves you. Like all these things go through as a kid.
Doesn't add up. Yeah.
But then going like moving forward a couple of years, even things like that happened when I was 14, 15. As soon as I hit 19, 20, sometimes you find yourself thinking about it, and then you're just like, that was the right course of action. Like if he did anything else, I could possibly have turned out different. Like if he didn't either reprimand me or take the course of action that he did, and go off at me, or really like drill it into me what I was doing was wrong and everything, I could have been a totally different person than I am today, And I just think, I would react the same way if I was in that situation.
It's amazing. Like you compare your life and you be like, if my parents were just not strict, they were cool parents, where would my life be right now?
Yeah.
Or how?
I would take advantage of it, bro. I was a hardhead when I was a kid. I would take advantage of it.
Questions like that you ask yourself.
And that's where I think the wisdom of Allah comes as well. Like,
listen to your parents.
Not only that, but like the kind of parent and the kind of child that I paired up. I was hard-headed, but my dad was way more hard-headed, so he was able to keep me in line. But if my parent was soft and like easy to manipulate, I would get away with so much.
My parents used to. I wouldn't think that it scared us or anything, but they used to sort of warn us and say, if you're disobedient to your parents, you're gonna end up with a child just like you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And I'm like, Okay.
Scary. Oh yeah.
Yeah, scary.
Yeah. But you're right, man. There's so many moments when you can just reflect back, like even to the point where, you know, they have a say in the type of people that you hang around with.
Oh yeah, that
You
used to
know?
annoy me.
Yeah, for me, I'd be like, but first of all, I know how to behave. I know myself. I know the limits, you know, my limits and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think because we overlook that influence from other mates, whereas they think of it as the most important thing, that it's going to override your, you know, understanding of yourself, is going to override your ability to say no, basically. That influence factor is so huge. And so they always had a say in like the type of people that we hung around with. And the good thing is a lot of the times our mates would not just be mates outside of the home. They would come and visit as well and be inside the home. And so my parents got to meet them as well. And so there was that level of trust. But
you know, the thing that most teenagers, like including us, that it never really hits your mind. And I think this is what I would pass on to all the teenagers out there. Our parents have been teenagers once upon a time. They've been through, regardless of different times and place, they all went through the same stuff that we went through.
that's true.
A lot of them would run out of the
How many
house.
hours your parents abo when you're back, you know, in your mid-20s? What you used to get up to?
They all had nicknames.
It gives you that look, you know?
Yeah, it's like,
They all had like
it's
nicknames.
just like today, inshallah, once we hit our 40s and 50s and we're telling our kids to stay away from things, you know, they'll probably be thinking at us like, who's this old person? But look at us now. We've been through it all. Like in our generation, whatever there's to be done, we've been through it all. You know what I mean? So like, but as a teenager, you don't think that, once upon a time, your father was a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old. Probably wasn't happy with his dad. The fact that he had to go to Duxie and, you know, go look after the family or whatnot. And when you really think about it, and I think that's a key thing for parents to do as well. Like, let your child know that, okay, I'm not just telling you this because it's my decision, but I've been in your shoes, you know, and I'm saving you a lot of trouble and hurt by already telling you this and this and this through my experience. Like, I think I would have connected with my father a lot differently, and I would have understood all of his actions at that time if he told me about his childhood. Like, growing up, my dad, till this very day, I don't know much about his childhood.
But do you think that they would share that information with you? Like,
not really.
Yeah,
Not
and
really.
I think a lot of the time, like our parents wouldn't. Obviously, I don't know much about my dad's childhood. You know, there's only some fragments that I would know, only because now he sees us as older and you know,
shares it with you.
So he shares a little bit, and you're like, "Whoa, man, you actually experienced that?" Like, and I'm hearing things about my mom. I'm like, "Whoa, I didn't even know that." You know, from my aunties and stuff, but. When you're younger and your parents share that information with you, I think they feel like that you can use it as like a weapon to justify your decisions.
Exactly,
and be like,
I would've
well,
said,
you did that,
true.
you know, so why isn't it okay for me to do it?
Sort of tell your daughter or your child.
Not the details.
Now.
Not the details.
Not
But
the
I've been in your shoes.
Yeah.
I know what you're going through.
Exactly.
And because of that, and because that I know what you're going through, I think this is the best course of action. And reassuring them that, like,
I'll give you
I went through something
example.
similar.
I know.
My younger brother, he's 20. Whenever he gets into mischief, he finds it easier for me to talk to me rather than my dad, because then I can say to him, you know what?
I was there.
When you were 20, bro, I know what it's like, bro. Probably dad doesn't know.
Yeah.
Dad came here at as an adult. But, you know, I grew up at that age, and he sort of listens to me easier than to the parents, because the parents is, you know, it makes it easier because like,
makes sense.
You're not going to act as if it's the end of the world.
Yeah, even till now, my dad will be like, before he even warns him, he'll be like, talk to him.
Yeah.
Because he thinks, he realizes probably, you know.
That you can relate.
He can relate to me rather than, you know, my dad for a change, you know.
It's
amazing how,
interesting.
you know.
So I think that's a really, really interesting point. Like, obviously you don't want to tell you, like you said, they'll use it against you. Because I remember I found out something about my dad, and he was against it for so long, and then I heard stories, and then I'm like, back in the day, huh?
Yeah, it kind of sort of like.
So then, but then, like I don't expect you to tell them like details, because
I think the key for me, and sorry to cut you, but I think the key for me is to really understand why you want me to make this decision this way.
Yeah.
It's just to understand the why part, because a lot of the times the parents would just give you a decision and tell you no or don't do this, and when you ask why, they'll say because I said so.
Yeah.
you know, and you're like, well, that's 1 + 1 = 5. It doesn't make sense to me because I said so is not really an answer to my why.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
a lot of parents take that question why, like, who are you to
as
question
in,
me?
yeah, as in like you're talking back. But really, what you want to do is you want to understand. And that's part of growing up is that in order for you to be able in the future to make smart decisions, you need to understand all the information.
Yep.
And how can I make a decision if you're not willing to give me the information?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you're telling me don't do this or do this, but you're not sharing that information with me as to why I should do this. You know, you're not raising me to actually think rationally. You know, so I think it's very, very important that you tell them why.
For me, man, I remember my dad used to tell me everything, like, you know, like he used to like break it down for me. Don't do this, don't do that, because like my dad obviously like he grew up like in Djibouti, you know, and in his teenage years he went to France, you know, it's like Western country,
so he's already
he already understands it, you know. And same thing with my mum as well. Like she grew up in Kuwait as well, like in teenage. So it's like I always used to sit down with them when I was young. I used to do this, do that, like, you know what I mean. I was very close to my parents. They used to tell me everything, bro.
And that probably made it easier for you to understand.
Like, but also at the same time, I had a lot of cousins, bro. That were a lot older than me. Like also used to give me good advice. So.
That's good.
Because when you have elders in the family, they'll tell you, hey, especially your parents, they'll tell you, hey, look, my parents were chill, man. They were very chill. Like especially after I remember when I finished high school, they were very chill, bro. Like I used to come home late. Like I remember my mates used to be like, bro, I need to go home 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. I said, bro, I'll go home 2 o'clock. Like, because like my parents. You have to have that trust, bro, between you and the teenager, you know? Because my parents used to trust me. They know I wasn't getting up to mischief. I was probably playing basketball. And the good thing is they knew my mates.
Yeah, that's
like,
another
obviously
point.
The boys that kick back now, they know that when it comes to Maghrib or Asr, these boys, you know, they're going to be praying and all that. So they had that trust. And maybe for past 12 or so, you call me up, I'm on my way home.
Just to see that you're doing good.
That's it. Like, you know what I mean? But see, if they kept on calling me every hour, I would have said, what the hell is this, bro, you know?
But the important thing is like that one time that they do call you as well, you pick up, because a lot of teenagers think, yo, I want to get told to come home, so I'm not going to pick up.
Or they'll lie about it
as to why the kid's not
and
picking up.
And it escalates the situation.
And then like it's like tomorrow you're not going out. So that's so you pretty much had the triple threat right there.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, bro. It was a good experience, bro.
If I sum up my dad, a lot of, because we're boys, we interact more with the dads, especially in this Western world, because what happens outside of life.
You relate.
Yeah, and my dad had this mentality of, you know, if you want a mate, I'm your mate, you know? If you want to really, like, you know, I'm your best mate. Share anything and everything with me, you know? And he had this ritual, especially when you were year 9, year 10, school holidays. We'll go on road trip. Every school holiday we'll go on road trip. Me, my brothers, 2 of my cousins who take us all.
These guys live the good life.
So like you name it, Geraldton, Lancelin, Bustleton, Bunbury, Dunsborough, Margaret River, you know, Esperance. We went through it, you know, and he would just pack up the car, go. Last weekend, we went on the first road trip with my cousins. Like my younger cousins, me and my older cousins.
So you guys took it that spot.
Oh yeah, I saw some of the snaps.
So last weekend, was it last weekend? Was it last weekend? Long weekend. A long weekend. Yeah, we went down south, so we were there for 3 days. And my dad called us. He goes, "Hey," because I said to him, you know, because my brother was going, and you know, like we were obviously collecting the money and stuff, and my dad's like, "How much you want me to send?" And I was like, "Oh, you know," he'd be like, "Oh, you guys should cover it." I'll be like, "Dad, it's expensive. What do you mean can't cover it?" So now you know, right? Now you know.
All the doors.
Who used to cover all those people? I was like, oh yeah. I was like, times changed that. You know? So he, you know, like he experiments in those things, and what his plan was to be very close to him, you know, and like you know to have that trust, you know, that you know, even though you know we want to experiment times with our mates. First holiday, we didn't want to go. Second holiday, we didn't want to go. Later on, it became a norm. We reminded my dad 2 weeks before school holiday started. Like, Dad, we're going somewhere, you know, because we got first holiday. You're like looking forward to your mates spending time with wherever they're going, you know. Same old, you know, play FIFA, basketball, because you know.
And the thing, sorry to cut you off. And the thing about Perth, I realize it's very small. If you're getting up to no good,
a lot of people know you.
Majority, my dad was a taxi driver too, bro. Majority of the dads were taxi drivers. Bro, I remember once I was in the city, man. Went up to no good. We're just cranking the music. We're heading from South Perth basketball court.
Yeah.
I was heading home, so I had to like go through the city.
Yeah.
I was cranking it. Me and the boys were all in the car chilling. I don't know, listening to Tupac something. Bro, I got home. My dad was eating dinner home. He's like, so you're listening to all this garbage now in the city, blast the music, in my car, Because I remember my first car, my dad gave me one of his cars. Yeah. And I was like, how the hell did you know? He's like, I know everything. I've got eyes and he's all over the city, bro.
Your dad was at home in Perth.
Oh,
my dad
was in Africa, bro.
is here in Perth and I'm in Hargeisa.
And he knew what you were getting up to.
Before I even got home, he's like, where were you? Like, I was like, what do you mean? Where was I? No, who's those people you're with? Like, you're with those people, they're not good people, like, stay away, because I was like, hanging out with some guys who came from Canada, when you go to your back home country, you get so...
Yeah.
You're looking for, people that you sort of link with, As soon as you walk in the street, you hear someone speaking English. Oh, mate, where are you from?
Familiarity.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm from Canada. So we went down to, like, even Hamnouz with us. So we went down to, like, summertime and we kicked back and, like, and then I go home. And then this is Hargeisa or something. Like, there's hardly any lights on the road. No one can tell who's who, Get home. Dad goes to me, who's those guys you with? I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you know what? If even FBI offered me a job, I would not take it. I'm more qualified than them.
Glenn's dad was notorious for that.
Even the boys in Perth, they know my dad, bro. Famous glasses, bro. He had those famous FBI glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Tall, 6 foot.
Yeah,
bro,
crazy.
He stood up, bro. He'll know. So it's funny, bro.
Allah, mashallah, man. That's a pretty interesting stories, man.
But my advice to the young teenagers right now is, no matter what your parents are telling you, they're telling you out of love. Because if they, for example, I used to say to my dad, man, if he doesn't love me, why is he keeping me in the house? Why is he feeding me? He's been strict, but why is he feeding me? Why is he, giving me what I want? Why, this roof that I'm under, these bills, this hot water, all these luxury I got, I've still got it. But why is he strict? Because he loves you, like there's serious. If he didn't love you, if your parents had no love for you, they'll be like the Western parents. They'll be like, 18, get out, go get you some. Otherwise, you're going to be under my roof, pay you $100. Yeah. So they make the most out of your parents, bro.
One thing I'd add for the teenagers is, obviously, and the ones just finishing school, whatever, going on to uni, so on and so forth, I'd say kick back with the boys, for females, with your Muslim friends that generally pray. Because those are the ones that are not going to get up to mischief, because obviously from experience, the ones that pray, when it's time for salah, they stop what they're doing and they pray their salah. Trust me, that mate will save you from a lot of things. And if you're not around that type of environment, at least try to get yourself around into that environment, because it's only for your benefit at the end of the day,
that's beautiful, man. You guys shared some interesting stories, brought back some memories, dad and everything. And back in our teenage years when we hide away from all the taxi drivers, as you've mentioned. But no, I think the advice that you guys gave really sums it up for us today. It's been a hectic conversation, and hopefully we do it again next week,
inshallah.
Hopefully our viewers catch us next week, inshallah. Stay tuned. Until then, salam.